Everyone, welcome to the Real Talk. We're back. It's been a couple of weeks. We took a little break due to the weather, and some of us were not feeling that well. But we're back. It's March 1st, and we're excited about the new things that are happening. Tamara will be joining us later, but I have Shonda with us here.
Hi, everyone. Shonda.
And we have a special guest, #1 selling best author, Kay Monique, is with us.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Good evening.
We are excited to speak with Monique because her book is about just empowering individuals and just motivating people. And this year, a lot of people that I've spoken to, they said, 2018, everyone claiming it. So I think, this is a good tool to kind of, help us to, kind of get over that hump. Sometimes when you say, okay, I want to make things happen, but we kind of stay stagnant from, with our behaviors that we were doing the year before. So I think this is going to help, some of our listeners to kind of, take that next step. So, see, have the things come to pass, that include myself. I have a lot of things that I need to do, and I think, I'm excited to hear, your input, your advice, some suggestions. So, Monique, do you want to tell tell us and your listeners, about the book and, and your mission and your vision?
Absolutely. First of all, I'd like to say thank you all so much for having me this evening. This is my second time being able to be on a show on the network. Atlanta is showing me a lot of love, and I do appreciate it. My name is Yes, thank you. My name is Kay Monique. I am referred to as the Possibility Powerhouse because I believe that once people know what's possible for them, once they understand what's in their reach and what they can have or what they can do, that's when people leap. And this year I'm on a mission to, encourage people to leap and not look back. A lot of times you said a few minutes ago you were talking about people claiming the year. And a lot of times, especially in the ministry world, people are like, oh, my God, praying, like, is this the year that God's going to allow, and is this the year that God's going to do? And I believe personally that this year specifically God is sending messengers to say, hey, you're not waiting for me. I'm waiting for you to decide what you want to do and where you're going to jump in so that I can breathe on the choices that you're making. He's already given us authority. He's already downloaded strategies and plans for us, and we have to make a decision. We just have to decide to just go ahead and do it. And so this book is a short read. If you get the Kindle version, I think it's maybe 26 pages, and the hard copy will be coming out soon. I think it's maybe 46 pages. But I wanted to make it super simple. Just give 6 shifts that I believe are necessary for us to have a productive year and just jumpstart like the rest of our lives. I think it gets better from here.
I mean, I'm definitely going to get a book because I think, well, for me personally, I could speak about myself. I don't know about anyone else, but for me personally, it's like, how you have a goal and you say, I'm going to do it, but sometimes you don't know where to really begin. So I think a guide just to kind of say, and once you have the guide and like the steps and ideas start to come, it's like, oh, I can do this, I can do that.
Yes.
Because sometimes I think you just don't know where to start. And once you get going, it's like, it gets easier and easier. But Monique, just spell your last name just because, it's spelled differently, just so everyone knows exactly when they're looking for your book, how to look for it before you go any further.
So actually, my name is listed as the letter K with a dot, and my middle name, Moneak. My last name isn't there, but it's Kay Monique, and so it is spelled a little different. That's capital K with the dot, Moneak.
Awesome. Okay, so now do you want to tell us a little bit more about what's in the book, or you don't want to give the book away, and so.
Right, we don't want to give them all the goodies, but we can talk about a few of the things there. The book starts out talking about, and I had an opportunity to share this the last time I was on, and that is it talks about the life I'm living. And it's a really short part, but I wanted to make sure that was in the beginning, because sometimes, Marilyn, when we want to do something new, we discount where we are, or when we're waiting for God to give us the manifestation of, promises and plans that He's released for us, we forget to be grateful for where we are in life. And so what's amazing is when I talk a little bit about the life that I'm living, before I shared what, threw me for a loop, I wanted people to know my life wasn't horrible. You don't always start bad or in some dark place, but you have to be grateful for what's already going good. And I feel like when we have a grateful attitude, that makes room for more. But the other part of that is nobody can really appreciate where you are headed and what you got going on now, until they can just kind of look back and say, well, oh, okay, she went through that, and this is what's happening now. And then you can bring them into, what they can expect next. And so that was really key for me. The other thing that stood out is, I will say this, I talk about a system I believe is amazing, and I call it the Raven system. And the Raven system is important because in the Bible, in Elijah, it's 1 Kings 17, it talks about Elijah and how he was, running, and he was, trying to escape some things that were going on in his life, and he was led to a specific place. And sometimes in life, this happens to us. We got stuff going on, and we're looking for somewhere to lay low and regroup. And while he was at this specific place, the Bible says that a raven fed him bread and flesh in the morning and bread and flesh in the evening. And that was crazy because this raven already had a GPS downloaded from heaven. Do you hear me? To know exactly where he was and to bring the specific substance he needed to sustain him until he got more instructions. And so I want people that are listening to us tonight to be encouraged that, God can see you. Provision can see you. Destiny can see you. And the Raven system is set up so that once you make a move and you show up where you're supposed to be, everything else will line up. That's just a principle. That's a biblical principle of provision from God. And that just blessed my whole life, because every step I've taken since the first of the year, I have been met with provision and favor from people, and that's how it works. But you have to, the responsibility is yours again. You got to decide what you want to do if help is going to show up.
Now, I have a question. I have a question. So, Miss K. Monique, hey, everyone, this is Shonda. I don't know if anybody heard me say hey earlier. So, in creating your book, what was the process and the steps that you took in creating your book?
In what way? Are you saying mentally? Are you meaning literally?
Well, okay, let me rephrase that. What was your preparation steps into creating this book? Because I know from when, we talked on Tuesday, we know God gave you the vision and He told you to put the book out there. But how did He prepare you to put this book, His words into this book? Let me say that.
So one thing about me is since I was a young girl, I'm a scribe. I love to write. So I'm in love with paper. I love stationery. So I have so many journals. I have Post-its. I have loose pieces of paper. And so I had all these ideas. I put together, part of what I do even in my business is I help people put together plans and curriculums and stuff like that. And so I had this already. I had this information, and after I experienced what I went through that day at work, and I talk about it in the book, I was like, look, let me just go ahead. It was almost like, because I'm a pastor, it was almost like sitting down and preparing a message. For me, personally, it was very easy because this stuff has been in my spirit for the longest. That's the other thing I want to say. I know that there are people that are listening to us tonight that are full. The reason why you got to get this message, make it happen, is because you're full. You already have the goods. You already have strips of paper and notebooks. You already have stuff on your computer and your devices. And what happens is when it's time, there's an urgency. There's just an urgency. It's like, I got to do this. I have to figure out how to make it happen. When it gets to be non-negotiable or you just get that urgency within, You sit down and you get it done. And so that's what I did, Shonda. I made time. Like I'm kind of tough and disciplined when it comes to that. Like if I'm supposed to get something done, that's just how I was trained in everything that I do. And so whether it was after work, I would spend my lunch breaks with those little sheets of paper and just kind of organize the thoughts and allow Holy Spirit to help me put it in order. And once I had that, it was like, hey, now how am I gonna pay for this? How am I gonna get this ball rolling? And what was crazy is the process or the package that I was able to acquire from this particular publisher is normally $6,900. Mm-hmm. And when I tell you I had $0 toward this particular project, I had $0. But when you get in the face of God, when you pray, I'm a woman of faith, so I don't know anything else to tell you. But when you get in the presence of God and you listen, part of prayer is listening. So after you make a request and after you talk to God, then sometimes you just got to sit there. And I've listened, and he gave me specific instructions, and I talk about that in the book. And so that was my process. I had the pieces. I just needed to organize it and take action.
See, that is amazing. Because, I was asking because, not trying to toot my own horn, but I was just asked recently, and to be a part of a book as well as myself. So I don't know nothing about writing. Mm-hmm. I never knew anything about writing. Those people that knew me knew that I could not stand writing. But, I be wanting to get those questions like, what was your process? Because it literally, so I got asked to be a part of a book, I want to say like in January, February, December or January. And the pages were due to be done, were due right before this month. But I got done with it quick. It was just that I was like, oh, my God, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do.
Where do you start?
Right. Yeah. That's what I wanted to know. So that's why I was asking you, what was your process and how you do? Because I don't write. Now, if you ask me a math question, if you ask me 15 times 30, I can give you that all day long.
Yeah. You know what, Shonda? What's amazing about that is I'm the complete opposite. I cannot stand math. I'm intimidated by math because I always fail. My brain just does not like having to figure out all that. That's so stressful. But if you tell me to write something, if you tell me to come up with curriculum, if you tell me you want to write a book or, something that involves the other side of the brain, I got you. And so I was sharing with you before we came on air that this coming Tuesday, I think that's the 6th, I'm going to be on Facebook Live on my K Monique page, and I'm going to do a free life class called Stepping Out the Box. And what I would love to do, if it's something that you're interested in or your listeners are interested in, it'll be at 7 p.m. Central Time, is what we could do is right after we could have I would love to do a complimentary Zoom if you want us to set this up, where people who are working on books, I learned so much. I've invested to be in certain trainings. I love my publishers because they do an amazing job teaching this, but they've taught a formula. I couldn't do the entire thing with you, but I could give you enough that would simplify. You could write a book in 30 minutes. You could write a book in an hour. Yes, you can. And it's a process. It's a formula. And that's what I love about God, because he connects you with amazing people. I'm telling you, when it's your time, all you got to do is put it out there, and it's going to come to you. And so we could take, as long as you're willing, we could take the time, and I would love to go through that with you guys. Again, it's free of charge. I couldn't charge you for that because I'm not one of their paid trainers, and it's also not my formula, but there are parts of it that I could show you that's open to anyone, because they do free trainings as well, to show you what process I use from the publisher to finish it off and polish it. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I would love to do that. And it's simple, but it's stuff that you wouldn't think of if you don't know how to do that. And so I would love to, add that value and share that. I'm game.
Oh, most definitely. Now, do you have a flyer for that on Facebook?
Yes, I do. On my Facebook page, K Monique, my life page, there is a life class with K Monique post up. Okay. And so people can respond on there and just, tell me that they're going to join me. Let me know if they have any questions. But the topic for the actual